Hello, and welcome to Leafless Not Lifeless. I'm Sharon Benjamin, your host. Thank you so much for joining. Listen, did you know that in the autumn, the leaves actually look beautiful and they fall? But I learned from Encyclopedia Britannica that they're not just falling, there is a reason. It's actually a protective mechanism. Evergreen trees don't lose their leaves, right? And that's because those leaves are thicker, they have resin and wax on them that protect them. However, deciduous trees don't have that. So you know that if you remember from science and biology, water freezes and it expands. So if the leaves stayed on the trees, the water would expand and it would prevent photosynthesis. So the leaves have to fall. So although the leaves fall, it looks like the trees are lifeless. However, growth is still taking place. And such is the case with our guest today. Have you ever felt you had a headache and you decided, oh, my day is done? You ever had a toothache and you just said, okay, this is it. You stump your toe and you decide, I have to sit and take a break. Or you have a common cold and you decide to stay in bed. Well, my guest today had something more monumental than that, but she kept going and she's going to tell us all about it. Brenda Rivers, thank you so much for joining me on Leafless Not Lifeless.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, because your story is amazing. As I said,
Yes.
you know, although for a while it might have looked leafless, but you were still growing and developing, and we're going to talk about how you've done that. So,
Wonderful.
Brenda, listen, so first of all, what was the first indication that there was something wrong in your body?
Well, do you mean, because this goes back way further than when I know I needed a transplant.
Okay, so at what point, you started having some issues, heart issues?
I didn't know I had heart issues. And
Okay.
in 2001, I was training for a job. I was in Garden City, New York. And when it was over, we stayed there for weeks. And when I came back home, I was just really tired. And, being a woman, you keep pushing, So I started the new job. And my first day there, I just didn't feel good. I couldn't eat. I felt nauseous, even though I just felt nauseous. But my boss told me, he told me I should go home. But then a manager took me in the little kitchenette and in the medicine cabinet gave me 2 aspirin. See, I think that he thought he knew what was happening, but
Yes.
never said it to me, because they say if you think you're having a heart attack, take aspirin.
Okay.
So anyway, I took the aspirin. I called my friend because I work in Parsippany. So I drove all the way to Piscataway. I wouldn't go to the hospital in Parsippany because I'm like, that's too far from my family.
Yes, yes.
So I drove all the way home, just felt horrible. And I drove straight to my doctor. And he told me that I appeared to have the flu. He said, I can't give you anything for the flu, but I can give you something to help to not be nauseous. And I went home, I just laid on the bed, and my best friend kept calling with my kids, and they said, she's still just laying there. She said, something's not right, call the rescue squad. So they did, and as soon as they got there, they asked me if I had any nitroglycerin, and at the time, I wasn't all there. So I'm thinking, isn't that what they make bombs with? Why would I have that? And he said, no, it's for your heart. I said, what's wrong with me? And he said, you're having a heart attack.
So
and that was in 2001.
And you had no other indications before that time?
Other than being sluggish, tired. But I'm programmed to just keep fighting through it. I was a single mom. I just didn't know how to stop. Nothing made me stop,
So before that incident at the training, when you started to feel sick, before that time, you had no other indication of heart issues?
Not heart, no. I felt tired because of the rheumatoid arthritis. I just didn't know what I never thought heart, never.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and as time went on, So after that, what happened? What transpired? With
Well, I started seeing a cardiologist. They put me on certain medications, and I was okay, and I had to go to cardiac rehab. That's when Muhlenberg Hospital in Plainfield was still up. So I
yeah.
had to go there a couple of days a week for cardiac rehab, to strengthen my heart muscle.
Let
And
me ask you, Brenda. Brenda, what is cardiac uh, rehab? What is that?
yeah,
What would you have to do?
you ride the bike with your arms. You ride the bike, the stationary bike. Um, there's exercises involved. You walk on the treadmill. What else did we do? Um,
So
there's
during
another, there's exercises inside. It's like a whole little area for rehab.
so
People
during
go
that,
there for different things.
during that time though, were you getting any better or what was happening?
I basically didn't always feel better. I know my heart, what I found out is that my heart really never recovered. I had damage to the left side of my heart. And in 2010, I got a pacemaker. And I said, why am I getting a pacemaker? I feel okay. And he said, just consider it an insurance policy. That's what he said. Because if anything ever happened, I would have that support. I would have that backup.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in 2013, I had an incident. I was in a place and the electric in there set off the pacemaker. And I had to get they called it the Cadillac of all pacemakers. It was an upgraded one, but it's only going off that one time when I was at that place.
So
And
Brenda, you, so at what point did you have the triple bypass?
in 2012, January 2012, I had a triple bypass because of the damage to the left side of my heart. So I did have the triple bypass. That was the first major surgery regarding my heart. And I had to go back to cardiac rehab again. And at that point, that's when I had to come out of work. No doctor would sign for me to go back to work.
Yes.
So I didn't have a choice. Yeah.
So I want to see the order here because you mentioned the pacemaker. So which came first, the triple bypass or the pacemaker?
The pacemaker came first. The first pacemaker, because that was in 2010.
Okay.
The triple bypass was in 2012.
And then you got
I got the upgraded pacemaker in 2013.
So how is that for you? How was that in terms of your health? Was it helping you or what was going on?
The cardiac rehab did help a little bit because before that I wasn't exercising. So that kind of helped me a little bit. But like I said, because of the rheumatoid arthritis, I had autoimmune issues also. So that it's like I'm always in pain or something is always aching. So I just keep moving. My heart, I don't know. It never got me down because I just kept going.
So with the pain, since you mentioned the rheumatoid arthritis, so I guess, and I'm going back to 2001, since you say that you have pain, kind of chronic pain, I guess.
Yes.
You just didn't think much about what was going on.
I did not, no. Like I said, the last thing I thought was a heart attack. I never had a cardiologist. I just never, and I see doctors regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a first.
Yes, yes. So how was it so you've had the first pacemaker, triple bypass, an upgrade for a pacemaker.
Yes.
So how was it going for you after that?
It was going fine. I had a regular cardiologist. So in 2015, I was referred to Robert Wood Johnson's Heart Transplant Center. because the cardiologist is really, my heart was getting so bad that he referred me there because that wasn't his particular specialty. So they told me when I came, we will treat you with medication for as long as we can to prevent, any further damage. So that was in 2015. So I was on medication for years. And then when my heart started really declining, they gave me the news that I would need a transplant.
So how was that for you in your mind, your emotions? How did you handle that? And even with your family?
Yeah, to be honest, my faith is up there.
Yes.
But to hear that, it was a lot. It was really a lot for me. I just did not want to have a heart transplant, but I also didn't want the device, because you can get a mechanical heart too. I didn't want that either.
Yes,
But
yes.
through prayer and advice, I decided to go ahead and get the transplant. I really didn't have much choice. Mm-hmm. Once I realized, and then my children, and people close to me said, you have to do it, and I'm glad I did.
Brenda, what are the requirements? And I guess requirements is the right word for someone to go onto the waiting list, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So the requirement for the transplant list, every doctor, I had to see so many doctors, everything from the eye doctor to the GYN, with any doctor, because they check every part of your body, because they want to make sure, okay, we give you a new heart, we want to make sure you're going to be around a while, so it's a lot. And excuse me, it's a lot. And they had to take 25 tubes of blood at one sitting, because they check you for everything. They check you for diseases, everything. Because, they don't want to waste a heart on somebody that's not going to be around to benefit from it.
Yes.
So that was the qualifications. It was a lot. They checked everything. It's not like something that took a week. It took a while before I could get approved to go on the list.
So even before going on the list, you had to be approved. Even before you go on to say, I'm waiting, before you go onto the waiting list. That is amazing.
Yes, they check everything. So, they check mentally. I had to talk to a psych. They check everything. They want to be sure you have a way to pay for the medication, because it's expensive depending on your insurance.
Yes.
So they check everything.
So after going on the list, how long did it take before you were able to get a heart?
Thank you, Jesus.
It's okay.
I went on the list mid-January, and April 8th, I got a call that they had my heart. Yes.
That was pretty quick.
It wasn't even 3 months.
That was pretty quick.
That was so quick. It was really quick.
Because, I've heard of situations where people are on the list for months and months and maybe
years, some people.
Years, yes. Mm-hmm. Not just for hearts, but for other organs.
Right.
Just waiting and waiting.
Right.
So after Brenda getting the news and being able to go, or I guess there must be some other conversation with your medical professionals, even if after they say you have the heart, or let me step back. So I guess during all of that preliminary, they're checking everything to see that, okay, you're actually going to follow the rules.
Right. because they talked to me about, but I'm a diabetic since age 12. So they had to go through all of that. Does she take her meds? Does she miss her meds? Because they tell you it's very important not to miss. These are immunosuppressants, because a new organ is strange in your body. So your body will immediately start attacking it. They knew once they found out what my regimen was or whatever, they knew that I would do what I'm supposed to do, and they felt comfortable. Because before I even got the heart, they used to kind of hint, "You're going to get on that list. You're going to get on that list." Because they, excuse me, they knew that they could trust me.
Yes, yes. And I remember a story about a man who was in need of a heart, but
Mhm.
and this was in national news, and it might have made international, but he needed a heart, but there were certain stipulations and certain things he had not done, and
Right.
had said, "I'm not going to do it."
Yes.
And they would not, the medical professionals said, "Well, we can't give you a heart." And there were people who were making comments back and forth, about
Mhm.
what they felt. But based on what you're saying, they want to know that they're not wasting another life, actually.
Right, because somebody else can use that heart,
Right.
And I know of a story not too long ago, a situation where that happened, and he didn't get the heart because he refused to
Follow the
do
rules.
right. Yeah,
Just follow the
yeah.
rules. Well, I am
And
so
they take it, I just want to say they take it very personal, because of course they're not going to tell me who, but they made me realize how important it is to follow a regimen and take these medications, because they told me about a man. I have no clue who he was, but they used him as an example, how he got the heart and was doing fine. And I don't know if he ran into trouble. I don't know what happened, but he stopped taking the meds. After they had explained to him how important it was, that man died. When that doctor was telling me about it, she literally started crying, because she's like, somebody else could have used that heart. This
Yes,
is a big thing to them.
yes,
They check everything.
yes.
Hmm.
And it's about life. Um,
Yeah.
so have you met the family of the donor?
Unfortunately, I haven't. I didn't send a letter. I got a nice card with the inside blank, and I wrote it. And I did send it into the sharing network, because it goes through them. They know who the donor is.
Yes,
And I have yet to find out who the donor is. My heart, I got the heart in April 2018.
yes,
And once I recuperated and everything was okay, my goal was to contact the donor's family.
yes,
That took me so long. Every time I started to write, I just started crying. I'm like, how do I thank somebody that lost their loved one that
yes,
helped me? I couldn't do it. So
yes,
finally, in the beginning of 2020, I said, I'm going to do it. And I did. And somehow COVID came. And I don't know if nothing lined up.
yes,
Like, I'm still trying to reach the sharing network to see if they even got my letter, my card. I may
yes.
have to start it all over, but I'm determined to meet them.
To reach them, yes. Well, let's share with the audience some pictures that you provided.
Yeah.
And we want to look here. Let's see. Okay, Brenda, tell us about this picture.
Okay. According to my daughter, she sent me this picture. She says that it was either the day of the transplant or the day after. She took this picture. Um, I was hooked up to I was hooked up to so much that it would be the right side of my neck here.
Yes.
That is a tube, literally a tube going in my neck.
Okay.
That everything was medication being put in. And
Uh-huh.
that's what that was. Um, It's amazing that after that major surgery, I could even sit up like that.
And you're looking amazing in that picture after
I
that.
still get amazed about this whole thing. Well, see, I always wore a bonnet, trying to protect my hair. So my hair didn't get messed up. But yeah, that was me.
Yeah, it's kind of reminded me. I remember going to the hospital to give birth and making sure my hair was in curlers so that when I came
Right.
out of delivery.
Right. Right.
Okay, so here's another one. You're walking.
Oh yeah, that my bonnet's all messed up. Yeah, because they get you up. They get you up to try to walk you. I think that was the guy, because he used to have a chair. Because in the beginning I had no balance, and they would slide a chair behind me.
Yes.
In case I fell back.
Yes.
But yeah, I used to walk. They used to let me walk. I couldn't walk around the whole floor in the beginning. Each day got better.
Yes.
And then after a while, I didn't use the walker. I didn't need the walker.
So how long were you in the hospital after the surgery?
Oh, I was in the hospital a long time. I didn't come home when I should have, because during the surgery, something happened with my my lymphatic system, and the fluids are supposed to drain out of you.
Yes.
And at some point, the fluid should be clear, but mine always was like tinged with red, meaning blood.
Yes.
And they realized something wasn't right. So the heart transplant turned into something else, which made me stay longer, but it all got corrected, and after that, being in Robert Wood so long, I then had to go stay at JFK for a week to have intense physical therapy.
So you say a long time, are you talking a month or?
Yeah, like a month.
Oh, okay. So here's another picture of you. Minus all of the tubes.
Yep. I was still recuperating.
Still recuperating, but with not all of the paraphernalia. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It was like I felt lighter without all that stuff.
Yes.
Because you can't move. You can barely move, especially with that thing they had in my neck, that tube in my neck.
Yes.
It wasn't even a thin tube. It was thick.
Yeah,
so, it was a big tube.
And then to be there all of that time, and the doctors and nurses coming in all the time and checking. So Brenda, after all of that, so that was in 2018. What's your life like now? What's your routine like now?
Oh, my routine. Like I said, I'm still amazed and just so grateful. I go out every morning, I walk. I do. That helps me, and that keeps strengthening my heart. I do walk. I finally stopped taking naps, because I used to take a nap every day, and so I'm getting better with the naps. I eat like I should, and the medication, I take that. I have regular doctor visits, regular, and I'm just maintaining.
Yes. So regular doctor visits, like, is that every week, every
month? Right after that. Yeah. Now I'm finally up to, they just started me on 6 months, because before this, I was going every 3 months. In the beginning, I had to go every week, but gradually, So the only reason I had to go a lot recently, like from December to say like a couple of weeks ago, is because I had a left heart catheterization on December 6th, and they found tightening in the arteries around my heart. And of course, to me, that was a blow. And then they told me what it could lead to, and I'm like, oh God. But I was getting worried over something, because when I went back and questioned them, they said, Brenda, what are you talking about? They said, you don't have that. I'm like, but y'all told me I had it. They said, no, if we don't correct what's going on now, it could lead to that.
Okay.
So I was so happy with that news.
Well, this is so impressive, because going from what appeared to be leafless,
Yep.
you are living life and exercising regularly. So
Yes.
that is amazing. And I hope
It's
that
amazing.
the viewers and the listeners will understand that just because they get a common cold, they can still get up and go.
Yeah, I
Just
do.
because,
The only reason I'm not on the go now is just because of COVID. You
okay,
know, even though they're lessening the rules, the mandates and all,
yes, yes,
I still will wear my mask and be careful because my immune is very low, you
yes,
know.
yes.
So I have to follow my doctor's instructions.
Well, that's good. And I
But
hope that's
yeah,
encouragement to other people who they may not have to have a transplant of any kind at any
right,
point in their lives,
right.
but to encourage them to follow the doctor's orders, eat right,
Yeah.
exercise. Look at Brenda, what she's done. Look where she
Yeah.
came from in 2001. Wow. And
Yeah. And
now,
it's I never one day in my life had high cholesterol. Never one day in my life have I had high blood pressure. Actually, I tend to have low blood pressure. That did not cause the heart attack, you know? And a friend of mine who's a nurse, a mother actually, she's a nurse. She used to always tell me, I can't believe that you're in heart failure. She, I was at her house one day and she said, oh, I said, what's wrong? She said, your nail beds are not blue. I'm like, are they supposed to be? She said, normally when I see people in heart failure, they look bluish, grayish. The nails, hands look blue. She said, you've never been like that. This was God did all of it.
wow,
I'm
that's
just so
amazing.
grateful. I'm
And
so
Brenda,
grateful.
listen, I am so impressed because, as you said, you exercise all the time, and
Yeah.
that's coming from when we look at those pictures of all of those tubes and everything when you were hooked up, but you're
Yeah.
exercising. So again, going from, for some people, what might have looked leafless, you are
Yes. Yes.
living life,
Yes.
growing and developing. And
Yeah.
just like those leaves that fall from the trees, they fall and die, but they're not really just there.
That's true. Amen.
They're
Yeah.
actually helping other plants and
Yes.
helping the forest to grow. And that's just what you're doing. So thank you so much, Brenda. I really appreciate this. And I hope that the viewers and
You're
listeners
very welcome.
will
I hope I
gain.
could it helps somebody.
Yes, exactly. And listen, thank you so much for listening and watching and joining me here on Leafless Not Lifeless. Do you have a story? Would you like to leave a comment, share information with me? Please do so. You can reach me at leaflessnotlifeless@gmail.com. leaflessnotlifeless@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and for being a great audience. Again, Brenda, thank you so much. And
You're
listen,
very welcome.
for you, listeners and viewers, please join me the next time for the next episode of Leafless Not Lifeless. I'm Sharon Benjamin, and I look to see you the next time.